My friends, at 6 o'clock, I will be filling in for the great Michael Savage. I'll be filling in for his entire show, so you'll want to stay tuned for that. When I fill in for Savage in the next hour, we will be talking about new, shocking developments in the BP oil spill. You are not going to believe this. The dear leader now wants to confiscate money directly from BP, put it into an escrow account so they can start paying people off in the Gulf Coast. In other words, the government is raiding BP. And also, our dear leader is scheduled to give a presidential address from the Oval Office tomorrow night on the BP oil spill. He will be calling for more powers to the federal government. He will now be demanding that we pass cap and tax. We will have all of that and so much more when I fill in for Michael Savage in the next hour at 6 o'clock. But first, my friends, the issue of this segment, and in many ways, the issue affecting the politics of our time. America going broke. Over the weekend, our dear leader, President Barack Hussein Obama, our comrade-in-chief, con-man-in-chief, delivered a letter to members of Congress on the leadership of both parties. And in that letter, our dear leader said that it is now time for the U.S. Congress and the U.S. government, you heard it, you can't believe it, to pass another stimulus package. Another, quote, jobs bill. The first one of $862 billion wasn't enough. The second supplemental spending bill of $400 billion wasn't enough. So now he is calling for another $80 billion infusion of stimulus money. According to the dear leader, if this money is not sent to the states, policemen, fire workers, teachers, they're all going to be laid off. Massive layoffs are now going to occur unless they're prevented with this emergency stimulus money. And also, the dear leader says we need more tax credits for small business owners. He wants even more fees and taxes imposed upon the big banks. But the centerpiece is to spend even more money. Now, many of you may say, Jeff, I'm not surprised. I'm not shocked. Why are you surprised? He's a socialist. Doesn't he just believe in spend, spend, spend? But my friends, even now, amazingly, for the first time in his presidency, the Democratic leadership is now saying we can't afford it. Now it's not just the Republicans. Now over the weekend, it was the Democrats who said we can't afford any more spending. Mr. President, we are going broke. We as a nation are now going bankrupt. Just last week, as I talked about, for the first time in our nation's history, we have now crossed the pivotal fiscal economic threshold. $13 trillion in national debt. That is now the new level of debt that we've reached. Now, you may say, Jeff, what's the big deal about $13 trillion? It is 90% of our gross domestic product. No other country in the history of the world has accumulated 90% of its debt to GDP ratio, meaning 90% of its total economic output, and not gone broke. This is what happened to Greece just several years ago. When they hit 90% of their GDP, when their debt reached 90% of their total economy, there was no going back. And just today, You want to see how bankrupt Greece is? Forget the riots. Forget the fighting on the streets. Forget the massive layoffs. Forget all of the violence that is now unfolding in that country. Today, the government bonds held by the Greek government have been rated as junk. They are literally junk bonds. That means creditors believe they are utterly worthless. It's paper money. The Greek economy is now going to implode. My friends, it's like you. If you are now trying to purchase a house, or you want to purchase a business, and you want to get money, get some kind of credit from the bank, and your credit rating is 0. Nada, nothing, nilch, nisht, as they say in Russian. You can't borrow any more money because you no longer have any credit. Your credit rating is 0. You can't buy a car. You can't pay for your children's college. You can't buy a home. You can't do anything because the bank has said, Mr. and Mrs. America, you are no longer trustworthy. You spend beyond your means, and we will no longer give you a bloody penny, not 1 red cent. That's what's happening to Greece. That's what our government is doing to us. And so now, it is Steny Hoyer, the Democratic House Majority Leader, Nancy the Piranha Pelosi, I never thought I would see the day, Dirty Harry Reid. They are literally calling back the White House saying, I don't know what they're smoking up there. But didn't they see the $13 trillion national debt? We don't have any more money. We can't spend any more. Now, my friends, we are nibbling at the edges. $80 billion compared to a $13 trillion debt is peanuts. It's nothing. It's a drop in the barrel. But the point is, even the Democrats are saying, we can't afford this. We are spending money we don't have. And with an election coming up in November, my friends, this is what they fear. You. They fear now the growing voter backlash, the growing voter anger, the growing voter righteousness. They now know. You, the American people, have said, enough is enough. You are mortgaging the futures of our children and our grandchildren. And let me ask all of you this. All of you, but especially the liberals. Those of you that supported Barack Obama. Those of you that continue to support him. I don't know who you are. According to the polls, I have no idea who you are. Because your numbers are dwindling every day. But whoever is out there that has the guts to still admit he supports this con man, this hustler in chief, I want you to answer me one question. Here is the question I have for you. Of all the trillions of dollars now that he has spent, all of the economic stimulus packages, all of the spending, all of the taxing, tell me, where are the jobs? Where's the economic recovery? He told us, according to the dear leader, this was over a year ago, if we just passed his economic stimulus package, unemployment would be under 8%. We would now be in a robust economic recovery. My friends, we are in an economic freefall. Unemployment is at 10%, and the debt keeps skyrocketing.